Oh, yeah. We're back.
It's harvest time, people.
It's lunchtime. Lunchtime and harvest time. Got slim drinkings.
Frost is on the pumpkins. We're bringing in the sheaves.
What? Sheaves?
Sheaves. Bringing in
Is that
sheaves.
Like sheep?
No,
Multiple
it's like
sheep?
the sheaves of grain. Isn't that what they call it? Or am I
don't
mispronouncing
know.
something?
I have
Is
no
it
idea.
Reeves? I'm pretty sure sheaves.
Christopher Reeves of Grain. We're bringing him in. All right.
Yep. The Boozicopia has been deployed.
And his return, yeah.
And the... Oh, yeah, he's still in the corner of my little screen. The Scarecrow sits athwart the whole thing. He still look at him eyeing that Johnny Walker. He knows what's up. He knows what's going down after lunch.
Yep. It's all good at lunch.
Damn. What are we going to talk about this week?
So let us know if this is too loud. We're not sure. We got the new mixer and everything. So
I was concerned because we recorded the American Horror podcast today, and it seemed like everything is blowing out. I had to fix in post production, but and also when we started video, everything. I feel like I'm peaking over there. I don't know. We still haven't completely mastered the new mixer. Mm-hmm. We're the Men in Black today. Somehow we coordinated our wardrobe.
I think it's just because I wear a black shirt basically
every day, and then sometimes when I throw on a black shirt, then it's risky business.
I suppose so.
So, what are we talking about today?
I don't know.
I voted this week.
You did?
Would you like to hear my impressions of the process?
I was gonna vote, but I wasn't registered in Ohio yet. I could have
you damn
gone
young people.
to Indiana and maybe voted.
You damn young people.
But not on the stuff that I wanted to vote on.
So it's interesting. It's a historic election for Ohio this year because they had finally got a citizen rent initiative on the ballot to legalize marijuana.
What's that?
It's apparently it's a type of grass.
Oh, we can't grow grass in this country?
That people are concerned about. Apparently not. I mean, you look at the yards and apparently bluegrass and crab.
Can I smoke bluegrass?
Are the See, now you're getting right. You're jumping right to the lead.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Now I vote at every opportunity that I get because I think it's important as our citizens. But I was especially interested in this because the polling showed that a majority of Ohioans supported legal marijuana. And, I'm a legalize everything guy, right?
Sure.
I'm not
everything.
I have never tried heroin or meth or cocaine or painkillers, but my
I tried Vicodin.
Sure.
Out, yeah,
you're right. I've had painkillers. But my position is, however bad you think those drugs are, prohibition increases the wealth of a criminal element and turns our police force into, anti-citizen thugs and erodes our freedoms as individuals. I mean, it's one of the reasons we have the highest per capita prison population in the world.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I've talked to before, like I'm always leery of the, legalizing marijuana because that seems like the low hanging fruit. And I feel like that once that's done, there's a lot of people won't be interested in pushing through other reforms, but whatever, even Ohio's a decriminalized state, which means that everything like simple possession of under an ounce is essentially a misdemeanor on the same line as like a traffic ticket. But there's a lot of caveats to that. And I read a PDF or I read some journal a couple of months ago that said still in Ohio, there's over 10,000 people a year, 79% minorities that are being arrested for marijuana because there's a lot of things like, if you have like if let's say you have 2 8 ounces of weed on you, then they can get you for intent to distribute because you've got it packaged up and ready to go. If you have a quantity of marijuana and a piece of paraphernalia, a pipe, if you will, that can also accelerate it to where it's back to being a felony.
Intent to smoke. What?
Intent to smoke.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's simple possession. Now you're doing aggravated possession, Jim.
Man, if I was a judge, these loopholes wouldn't fly. You know what? Go fuck yourself.
Here's the other thing
with
about
your 2 baggies is intent to distribute.
Sure. The other thing about the law is that the judge's hands, and a lot of times, are tied because it's mandatory minimum. Yeah. So they want to let you off easy, but they literally cannot do anything but what the law allows.
Well, they can probably dismiss charges on certain things, right?
And that's up to the prosecutor. Like the judge just gets to decide. I mean, the judge, I don't know what power the judge has to set aside things, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not sure either,
but I know that there seems to be a lot of I've seen documentaries. The most recent one was The House I Live In, where there's one judge that is just bemoaning the fact that you know, everything's by weight and by class, and if you go before his bench with a certain amount of weight and a certain amount of priors, then you're going to go away for life, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's a crime that anyone would go to jail for any kind of possession of marijuana. So obviously, I was for this. Now, what's interesting about Ohio is that our legislature is rabidly anti-marijuana. And they've been trying for 10 years to get, you know, some kind of medical something going here. And they finally did. Ohio's one of those states that has an initiative led. So you can actually a citizen, the citizenry can vote for a proposition that can become an amendment to the Constitution. And that's what happened. This outfit called Responsible Ohioans, Responsible Ohio rather, spearheaded this bill, and they paid like $20 million to collect the signatures necessary, because there's a couple other outfits that have tried this too. I think there's like OTEP and a couple others, but they never got anywhere near close to signatures to even get it on the ballot. This place got the money and the canvassers, and they did it. The problem is these 10 backers wrote themselves a little provision that only they can grow commercially the marijuana that can then be distributed to the retail locations. And what that did is that split the anti-prohibition people between the young, you got the people that just want legal weed at any cost, and you got the people that are like, because they're libertarian or they're free market or whatever, like, what is this monopoly bullshit or this oligarchy bullshit? So I showed up to the ballot. First of all, the official Ohio voter thing showed me the wrong location, the wrong poll to go to. It was like,
good job.
It took me 30 minutes to find it, because I actually found a poll that wasn't even my poll. I recognized it because it had shit tons of, you can always see a poll. You can spot a polling location a mile away because it's got American flags everywhere. There's like a hojillion political signs in it, and there's always a bunch of mooks standing outside handing out voter guides and you know, all this, which I think is kind of bullshit. It's like there's like laws like you can't get within 50 feet of the polling door, but like get the fuck off the property. Like if someone's showing up day of and doesn't know what they're voting for, then whatever, vote by party or blind luck, whatever. And if they do, then get the fuck out of my way. It's like, it just, I don't know, it feels skeezy. Anyway, I go in there and it's just nothing but old people. Like I went before this board of 4 people with they're trying to figure out how to use an iPad to look up my voter registration records, and the youngest person, maybe if I'm being generous, was 67. And also I noticed this was like at 9-ish in the morning. I am by far the youngest person. Me and Cecily is the youngest person, but we are by far the youngest people that are waiting in line to vote. And I'm like, oh shit, this seems like a young person's issue. And then, so polls before the election showed that it's a slim majority. It was like 47 for, 46 against, with a margin of error of like 4%. It got destroyed. 65% of the Ohio population voted against it, 35 for, which now is like, you know, there's all this hue and cry about, oh, well, so goes Ohio, so goes the nation, that this has set back the whole nation. But I don't know, because
sorry, Ohio, you're not that important.
I don't know.
You're gonna see everybody else around you legalizing this shit, and if you want to be the last holdout, fine, whatever. But it's creeping across the country. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle.
But there's creeping, like, so here's the thing.
It's exactly like gay marriage. Exactly.
Right, but it's exactly like gay marriage. It's a crime that if we're going to go ahead and do this thing, you got, let's say it takes 10 more years to be legal in Ohio. That's 100,000 more people in jail.
Sure, I agree.
So that's the thing where I find it hard to understand the people that wanted to legalize this and end this system, but the monopoly was such a hang up that they were willing to have, you know, 10,000 people a year put in jail. Best thing about the political process, you can sit there and scorn those people, or you can roll up your sleeves and like, okay, well, I guess the monopoly shit doesn't work. The other thing about it is like you can grow. Like it was going to allow up to 8 ounces of possession of marijuana to possess. You could grow your own, like have up to 4 mature plants at once for every person, but you had to register with the state and pay a $50 cultivation fee or some shit like that. But I don't know, because here's the thing, like since I've moved here, I've watched this legalization thing, and none of the grassroots that want to pass a clean amendment that doesn't have monopoly, that doesn't have a monopoly that lines their own pockets. None of them can get the money in the organization necessary to get it on the ballot. Mm-hmm. And also, here's the other scuzzy thing about the Ohio political process is as soon as this proposition Prop 3 got on the bill, the legislators added another one that essentially said, do you want to allow monopolies to be written into the Constitution? And the other thing is, this was the marijuana monopoly bill. And like I was reading through the language of both ballots, and it's like, you know, would you like to protect the Constitution against manipulation by money, or would you like to vote for the evil monopoly marijuana bill?
Yeah, because there's nothing special about that. I mean, the Patriot Act, come on.
Right. But I mean, it's interesting is that the citizen-led initiative couldn't write their own language on the ballot. Gotcha. The government that didn't want to pass marijuana got to write, and there was lawsuits about even that stuff. But now the Ohio has also adopted this other statute, which it sounds like, okay, fine. There's no monopolies allowed in the Constitution. It's too late to stop the casinos who hoarded up a couple years ago, but whatever. That seems like it's good on the face of it. But the language is written so broad that essentially anything that tries to establish a tax rate, which I can't believe a marijuana amendment is not going to say anything about tax rates, because that's the principle for the government. The principal benefit for passing this, other than not throwing your fucking citizens in jail, is that it's like woohoo cha-ching levels of money. Ask Denver, ask Washington, and those folks. So it's like that, and there's a whole bunch of other nebulous language that I feel like they put in here just so that if someone does try to pass a clean bill later, that they can shoot it down and make it harder to pass. Because it's like, oh, this whole thing, like if that language triggers, it becomes like a 2-step process where you have to vote that, yes, you want to line someone's pockets or raise taxes or form a monopoly or whatever. And then you have to actually answer yes or no for the issue itself. It's just going to be confusing and a mess.
Sure. That's what politics is, man.
I know. It's the first time in a long time I've actually been bummed out about it, because like I didn't expect to win once I saw that the kind of the libertarian leaning part of the party was like, fuck this. But I didn't expect the ass kicking, and I am worried that it's going to harsh the buzz of the country moving towards, you know, legalizing a fairly benign drug. I
mean, we are not the first state to say no to legal marijuana.
Yeah, no. California did 5 years ago. Still don't have legal marijuana.
I mean, even since like Colorado and Washington have done it. I knew that sure there were others that said no to it.
I know Colorado rejected one, and then the one that made it on is because essentially an angel donor came in and like anonymously paid for all of the political money and all that stuff to happen. But I don't know.
Yep, that's why you need to donate to Bald Move. We'll donate. We'll get the 20 million. We'll donate
in the club couch.
Donate cushions. It as a donor for this cause, and there we go.
But it's the other thing is like, I think it's interesting. I don't know, because like there's this phrase, all politics are local. And so I'm actually one of those weirdos that goes through and looks at like all the council members. Like I voted for one guy because he was running on a platform to increase pedestrian crossing, make it easier to cross for pedestrian crossings on 32. Well, shit, that would affect my life, because like I could walk 99% of the time to get around and do shopping and do all that stuff, but I can't because there's like a 5 fucking lane highway
and there are no sidewalks.
There's no sidewalks.
This place doesn't have sidewalks, period.
It has sidewalks, but the places like they're all in the neighborhoods, and then they stop
on the main thoroughfare
where you want to actually get to somewhere to like go to a grocery store or go.
Yeah,
you know, it's
you can
crazy.
Tell that like less than 15 years ago, probably this was a nowhere but fucksville. Like, just country road, nothing out here, probably.
Yeah, and it just grew up, and it's grew up way too fast. And ever since we moved here, which is
like
almost
a Tom Petty song. God damn it!
Since we moved here, which has been almost 2 years now, it's been under construction.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing, because when you have Thanksgiving, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, this turns into a madhouse because we're like right at this bizarre terminus of major residential area, and there's a big shopping mall, and it just turns into a mess. And they've just ripped it out and been redoing it. It's kind of nice. I think they're about done, but they still didn't address the sidewalks. Why they're ripping up streets and stuff. They could have done it then. So
yeah, no one cares.
So I voted for this guy, but I'm thinking there's no fucking way. They just spent God knows how many millions of dollars redoing this stuff. What, they're going to put a pedestrian bridge?
And nobody cares. Nobody cares. I mean, you have to live so freaking close to this area for it to matter that, like, everybody has cars in this country. Unless you're living in a big metropolitan area, nobody wants to walk, period.
Because, like, I remember just when we moved here, it got, like, Cincinnati, there was this... I don't know. I can't remember what organization, but they rated like the walkability and bikeability of cities. And I guess the mayor of Cincinnati took it personally that we were amongst the worst. Because if you don't know about Cincinnati, number one, the city is essentially bisected by the Ohio River. So that's a bit of a problem. Although they condemned a bridge that used to be like a highway railroad bridge, and just essentially it's like, well, this is about, it'd fall down if we put another 80-ton train across it. So I know we'll paint it purple and call it the People Mover Bridge, so people can walk back and forth from Newport to Cincinnati, which is a fantastic suggestion.
Yes, but I would still be slightly uneasy about that. You know what? This old dilapidated piece of shit isn't worthy of being used anymore. Here, walk across it.
There's the dilapidated piece of shit, and the engineering piece, since the word in which, you can't put a train over it.
I know.
But you can put as many fat Midwesterns across as you want, and it's probably got another 50 years of life in it.
It's true.
And they also have a bunch of interstates, highways just knot up in downtown and just like cut up everything. But they spent a lot of money, and I guess it's like greatly improved. They put a lot of bike paths. There's some bike lanes. They're getting a trolley system going down there.
All right, that works.
So it does work a little bit.
There's also a shitload of hills here. Like if you go down by the river, it's hilly as fuck.
But so is Seattle.
Yeah,
and
so
they
is San
have
Francisco.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a reason, but it's not an excuse.
Yeah.
But living in suburbs, you're proper fucked because it's one of those problems. No one walks.
No.
Because everyone drives. Because no one walks. Because you can't. But why you want to spend money on sidewalks? Because no one walks. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm bummed because now I'm worried that the Ohio I don't know. I feel like that the Ohio legislature made it impossible to do this kind of thing, and that the rich investors that might want to do a better bill next time just saw them getting a thumping to the tune of $20 million, and they're like, fuck that. So I don't know. I'm bummed.
I can tell.
What do we got here for questions?
I don't know.
Tyler S. So I saw you released a TV podcast and realized you never gave your final thoughts on Mr. Robot. What did you guys think? Did we not? I thought we did a whole thing on Mr. Robot.
Maybe we did it after a few episodes.
Maybe. I thought you saw the whole thing, but I don't mind talking about it again.
I don't think
we'll
you
probably
had seen the whole thing when I had seen the whole thing, and so we couldn't talk about it.
No way. I finished it before you did, because I watched the whole thing in like one weekend. But I'll talk about it again, and we're probably going to talk about it again on our Baldies Award. Yeah. Is that I thought the last episode was kind of a letdown. That I guess that it did not come to a shock that the big revelation at the end was true. And I'd kind of smoked that out a couple episodes before then. So I felt like the second episode felt like more of the finale, or the second to last episode felt like more of the finale, and the actual finale was a little bit underwhelming. And I feel like the evil corp worked better as a foil inside Elliot's mind than when you actually get out and see, like, I don't know, it's like the banality of evil. And what was his not his girlfriend's, but the girl that he's really has always loved since childhood.
I don't know her name.
I can't remember her name. The blonde that looks like Karen from Mean Girls. As she got deeper and deeper in that organization, it's just like, man, this doesn't feel like a real company. Like, maybe I guess that's literally true that if they make a decision about whether they should fix a problem or cause a health problem for their employees, that a company would take out an insurance policy that would cover a potential judgment, and also that would actually be making money for them. So, I mean, I guess that's literally true, but it just, some of the stuff just felt so evil and so over the top that it came across as almost parody, which I don't think is what they're going for. But having said that, I'm super curious about season 2, but I also don't know exactly how they can pull off a season 2 as satisfying as season 1.
That's why I'm curious about season 2. I don't know where they want to go from here.
That felt like a one and done. Like this should have been a mini series that is just a 10 episode, that nice tight 10 episodes that tells a story, introduces this very unique character. And yeah, I would like to know more about the world, but I'm afraid that they're just not going to be able to fill it in. What about you?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot more story for them to reveal about Mr. Robot, about that character. We got an awful lot of it in the first season. So is season 2 just going to be antics? Is it going to be like, oh, there's another big bad we got to try and dissolve here, or try and thwart with our computer hacker skills?
I mean, they didn't do anything to Evil Corp is the thing.
Yeah, Evil Corp.
And also...
well, they did. I mean, indirectly, they did something to everybody, right? Like, the thing I'm interested to see is the aftermath of all this. Like, is it going to play out how they wanted it to play out, or is there going to be some nightmare scenario that they didn't foresee?
Right.
And now they're like, oh, fuck. Well, we probably shouldn't have done what we did. Yeah. I think that might be an interesting way to go with it, but...
Yeah, it could be, you're right. It could get to like science fiction-y the way that like The Leftovers is. Like, what if everyone's financial records were wiped out? What would happen to civilization?
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see it too, but I'm also a little bit more concerned curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're hinting at maybe everything not being, because they were less than satisfied with, some of them were less than satisfied with, the aftermath of this. Like, what do we do now? We accomplish our goal, but what do we do?
Sure.
Like, this party isn't exactly what I had in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt a little empty and hollow.
Yeah, and the characters are expressing that. So I think maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some hope for next season.
All right. Let's see what else we got. I don't know what New Hampshire is referring to. I'm sure it has something to do with legalizing marijuana or something, but
maybe failed to legalize it.
Maybe failed to, yeah.
Maybe even twice, he says.
That could be. But they're the live free or die state, so what the hell?
If they can't,
what the hell, New Hampshire?
No one can.
Freddie C says, any word on an international LWJ&A, maybe one on Australian time? We did, so we have had opportunities where, like, we actually have a free schedule this week. We can do it anytime. Is anybody interested in? We didn't get a lot of, it didn't feel like we got a lot of interest in people. It's like everyone says that's a great idea, but when it comes time to pick a time, or even a top 3 times where we could hit one this time and one that time and one the next time, like, it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of support to it.
There's also not a lot of reason to do it. I mean, if you think about it, you're going to be disappointing somebody somewhere all the time, right?
Sure. But no, I mean,
you could switch it around and nobody will know when the fuck it's going to happen, and they'll not tune in because of that. Or you can keep it at one time all the time and people will know.
I certainly don't want to move it around willy-nilly, but I think what he's going for is more like maybe a twice a year event. I don't know, maybe like, what's Australians' Independence Day? Are you guys still slaves to the British Empire? We can,
yeah.
I mean, maybe we could do like a special, like, that's like when because that would be the ideal situation, right? Holiday, people off at work. It's kind of your country's day, and we do it then.
There we go. We'll do it on the Independence Day of every country.
Of every country?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Or we'll do one day where it's a 24-hour lunch with Jim and Aaron. We'll do one every fucking we'll just broadcast marathon it all 24-hour.
There you go.
Get the whole from GMT to GMT, cross international date line. We just keep on trucking.
I like it.
If I felt like that there was some support against, like, if I could get, all right, here is lunchtime in France, and the English people can go there, and and the Germans can go there and all there. It's like maybe I would do that, and then also do one in Australia, because I know we have a lot of Australian fans. But yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. It's just that the last couple times we've tried to get one together, it was kind of a meh response. So I mean, there was a couple threads in the forums where I just feel like that there was a lot of support for it.
All right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I would be glad to stay up till midnight to do it, or get up, do one. Well, do one super early is kind of rough, but I can stay up as late as you need me to.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did you finish season 3 of The Americans? Wes S wants to know.
Nope. We were so busy at that point that I stopped watching it as well.
We are, for Baldy's purposes, I think I'm going to at least try a couple more episodes, and you said you might be interested in watching more of it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the rest of the season.
Because, I mean, I hate this. I don't think it's going to be up for a Baldy's, just because, I disliked it so much in 5 episodes that I wanted to stop covering it. But, I also, part of that was we were over busy.
Yeah.
Like that was, I think, 6 podcasts a week for me, 5 for you. So that, I mean, like it or not, that colors your opinion of it too. If you're not having fun,
yeah,
and it's a lot of work, and
if you
it's
go
a
into it
low-rated
going,
show,
oh god, I gotta watch this today.
Yeah,
that's not going to be a good experience. So having some free time and watching it is going to be much better, I hope.
Best case scenario is like now, it's like Fargo and The Leftovers, and even The Walking Dead. Like I haven't felt like I've really been grinding.
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day. Just like, this seems like an acceptable level where you do 3 main casts a week. Then
Monday,
you have
Tuesday, Wednesday are super fucking busy, but I don't feel like it's drudgery or like
and
it's
it helps
a drag.
the shows are so good too.
That's what I'm saying. Like
aside from Walking Dead, the other 2 shows have been amazing. So
yeah, if you could put 4 or 5 shows in front of me that are that good and that engaging, and also spaced appropriately through the week, then it might be a different story. But
maybe.
The Lunch with Jim and A-Ronathon. Yeah, we could do. Yeah, if we could get a charity involved, that'd be even better. Let's see. Tyler S. Shum says, "Oh, he's double dipping on the Mr. Robot stuff." Sam Esmail, which I don't know if that's Ishmael, Asmail. Esmail said that if this series was a movie, season 1 would have been just the first 30 minutes of what he had planned.
Really?
That's interesting.
Huh.
Like that's essentially the setup for the prologue. And I could see that being true.
Yeah, now we know who the characters are, who the players are. Now let's really get into the world more.
But it's weird. It'd be like I'd be just as surprised if I heard that Fight Club was the first in a trilogy.
I mean, that ends kind of rough.
Yeah, it's
for the characters.
But what I'm saying is like, kind of essentially, it's like this was all just a prologue to the story I really want to tell. It's like, wow. Whereas like you see The Matrix, like, okay, yeah, sure, you got 2 sequels. I totally buy that. So, I mean, if the guy's saying that and he's not full of shit, then that's super exciting. Because again, I'm not done. I'm not tired of the characters, the premise. I just honestly don't see any hooks where it could go.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Freddie C was talking about Ohio legalization, said almost no news outlet reported the monopoly aspect of the ballot when they rolled out the Ohio votes no on legalization articles. Yes, that's been frustrating too. Like
here are the reasons why maybe it didn't pass.
Yeah, it's just Ohio's overwhelmed because a 65-35 defeat is crushing. That is a schlacking. Yeah. When you got a 2/3, a veto-proof majority. And they're all just saying that. Like the AP release was essentially Ohio rejects legal weed. Okay, sure.
That sounds super uninformed.
Well, that's I mean, that is
like
the problem with journalism in a nutshell. Yeah.
Well, a lot of journalism, but when I hear like AP, I expect a little bit higher standards.
I don't know why, because there's not,
because they're one of the few outlets that are actually still doing journalism in any kind of.
They're so stretched thin. Although it's like there's not. Since this is a hot button topic and there's not a whole bunch of states at any given time, trying to do this, you'd think that they could have a couple people or even some local resources that would give them
digging.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what? Only 10 people are allowed to grow? That sounds like a monopoly. Maybe I should look into that.
Plus, no one did any exit polling. Because I was kind of curious. Like, I really want to see the exit polls. Like, why did you vote no? Was it
because
I don't want legal because I'm old? That's the other thing. This is an off-year election, which is already brutal for young people.
Yeah.
You go to the state's website to find where you're voting, and so that's the thing. Like, I just showed up to the studio late that day. If I had a job, I'd be like 30 minutes in. Fuck this. I gotta get to work, man.
Yeah, and it adversely affects people who go online, which are primarily young people, to find out where they go to vote.
It's so fucking archaic. I got to go to a certain place to vote.
Yeah. Even though I'm connected globally to everyone.
Even though they're checking me in with iPads and shit. I have to go there and I have to get a paper ballot and I have to fill it in with ink and I have to slide it into a machine that then says, okay. And people
so
like
Mr. Robot can't put someone into the presidency.
Right, I know. Because if you have e-voting machines, then there's like, all kinds
anonymous
of
is going to be president and it's going to be bad news.
I just feel like that why can't we do an open source initiative for ballot machines?
I don't know. Because
like this is an open standard. It's the machines have been verified by third parties that there's nothing. I mean, if fucking Las Vegas can certify that their blackjack machines pay out at certain statistics and stuff, why can't we hold fair and open elections in the 21st century?
I don't know. I mean, there also have to be other provisions for people who either don't want to or don't have online access, right?
No, I'm not saying vote. No, I'm not saying vote from your home. I'm saying show up at a secure facility. It can be close to your work. It can be close to your kid's school. It can be close to your home.
How does that change anything, though? What
I'm saying is, like,
what are you trying to
right now? I have to show up at a place that may or may not be convenient for me to show up.
But you're still saying we need to do that.
Well, I'm saying you can go, instead of having to go to one particular one, go to any of them.
Like a kiosk in the mall?
Well, no, I'm just saying that, like, right now I had to go to one where I live.
Yeah.
Which is, was fairly convenient for me in this circumstance.
So you wouldn't have been like, oh, this isn't my place to vote. Whoops.
Yeah, I could have just shown up like, I can't find that fucking place. Here's my ID. And, oh, yep, this is you, sir. And you haven't already voted. So, but with this, the reason you have to go to a particular polling space is they literally look you up after they look you up online, then they go to their paper rolls and they scratch your name out and they give you a ballot. And then there's your one vote. But it's like, it just seems such a fucked up, weird process that's got to be better. I mean, I get it. You don't want, with this anonymous process, you don't want something that can't be audited and not. But I'm like, we run trillions of dollars of global economy.
The entire economy is built on computers. Yeah.
And we don't have that much bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I feels like there's got to be a better way. I don't know how, but there's got to be smart people that want to do it.
Let's let the banks run the voting. How about that?
Sure. Yeah. just eliminate the middleman.
Sure. They've already got the software for security. We're good.
D wants to know if I have seen the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms book, The Tales of Dunk and Egg, and have I read them before? I'm familiar with. No,
this is another Martin thing.
Yeah, this is another Martin thing. So, like, as I think I've said this a couple times on the tinfoil thing. I've not read anything that's not like the canon, except for. Oh, I thought I had it on the bookshelf. I've also got the World of Westeros, where I've read most of the lore parts of that. And I've seen like the bonus material on the Blu-rays and whatnot, but I've not read any of the Dunk and Egg novels, mostly because I went to set out to read them and they're just like, well, this isn't a comic book and this was in a collection of short stories and this one's out of print. And I'm like, fuck that. Like if there's a bound volume, which maybe that's what you're suggesting, I would probably read them all in one spot. But no, I know what goes on in them and the gist, and especially some of the information that might be useful for figuring out what's going on in the Game of Thrones series, but I'm not actually read them. If there is, by the way, if there is a collection, if something's come out in the I can't imagine I would have missed it. But if there is a exhaustive collection of all that stuff, let me know because I wouldn't mind.
Is it actually the Tales of Dunk and Egg?
Yes.
I was under the impression that it was Dunk and Egg.
No.
Like a guy named Duncan.
No, it's a Sir Duncan, and Egg is the short name for Egg, who later became King Aegon.
Okay.
So yeah. Which if you'll recall, the old Meister that died at the Citadel, that was his brother.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that's interesting, and there's a lot of speculation that like the Saruman the Dingy, is a prominent character from that series as well. But
I'm surprised. So there was like a collective eye roll when he released that book, right?
Which book?
The Dunk and Egg thing that he released.
Was there? I don't know.
Between the last book and now.
Well, yeah,
there was basically an, oh my God, are you seriously doing this offshoot bullshit?
Well, I mean,
you've got 2 full books to write, man.
It's not just that; it's the world of Ice and Fire and other short story thing. Like he keeps coming up with.
I'm surprised there hasn't been just a straight up boycott. Like, fuck you, we don't want any more of your bullshit until you write these books.
We're junkies,
dude.
Man. Like, I'm trying to think what
I know, but
what Martin could
so
do.
Touchy.
What Martin could do to make me not buy the book. Like,
he could continually troll.
He says, I'm going to personally
books.
insert every copy of this book into my ass and hold it there for an hour.
Impressive.
And then pull it out and sell it to you.
I hope it's a limited edition run. Like 100 copies max.
Man, that's why it's taken so long. He actually finished it 3 years ago. Even a man his size, he's only got a certain amount of capacity.
Steep it in his ass for a while.
Yeah, I actually on Reddit today, almost right before we recorded this, you can verify this. I was like, oh my God, he's so old and so fat.
Yeah,
I saw a candid picture of him with a fan, like a really close up, like, no makeup or something. I'm like, man, I know he's not that old, but this guy is not living the most healthy.
No,
and he's got a lot of writing it. I mean, he hasn't even started the final book, if it's the final book, because he's also said things. Well, maybe it'll be 2. I'm like, I just really am starting to worry that he's not going to be able to finish this thing.
Yeah, I told you.
And I know he hates it when people say that stuff, but I'm sorry. I'm just a person that's a fan of your work. And
I look at the situation.
If I was sitting here like on a heart-lung machine, I guarantee like beep, beep in the background, there'd be people in the forums like, I don't know if Aaron's going to be able to finish out The Walking Dead this year. Who's like Jim going to get to replace him? Does Brian Sanderson do podcasts?
If he were the guy who wrote Branded and you walk into his living room and he's in a fucking iron lung, you're going to be worried about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I don't care about him as a human being. I care about him as a human being. I want to be happy. Part of that is I want you to finish your work, George. I want you to get the laurels for it.
Yeah, it's hilarious to me.
Not to me, man.
I know. I have nothing invested in the book, so I don't care. But
so D says it's now a beautifully illustrated volume. Okay, I'm going to look that up and I'm going to let you entertain the people because I want to actually put that in my cart right now if that's the case.
Watch me drink.
Come on, you gotta have something.
I'm drinking White Russians, by the way.
A Night of Seven Kingdoms, $18.
$18?
Get it Monday, November 9th. Okay, so
how many pages is that?
I don't know. When did it come out? Is it just coming out now? How did I not know about this thing? Release date. Where's the release date? October 6, 2015. Huh. It's a compilation of 3 earlier novellas: The Hedge Knight, Sworn Sword, and Mystery Knight. Wow, these were written over the span of 12 years. Jeez. All right, so yes, I will commit to reading this before the next Game of Thrones stuff comes out, and I'm adding it. I'm adding it to my cart right now. Oh, it's in Kindle. But wait a second, is this that comic book? I don't want to read on Kindle if it's a comic book.
It's beautifully illustrated. I don't know that.
Yeah,
Kindle
I'm gonna get the book.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get the Dead Tree edition. Okay, there, sold. I even used the Amazon Top Bald Move link. Cannibalizing.
Why not?
Cannibalizing your sales.
Save like 3% or something. 4%.
All right. So do you have anything else to talk about?
Not really.
Because I'm out. I've vented my spleen about Mr. Robot, Weed, the Hedge Knight, etc.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say.
All right. Well, we will be back for another one next Friday. Until then, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you then. Until then, I fucked up the outro. Until then, I'm until then. Goodbye.